Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Dive, where we take a deep dive into digital assets. Today, I am joined here with the team from 30 Press, our partners who are working with us at the Void on the Voidager Challenge and the Voidager Epic. Fellas, how are you doing today?
How are you doing, Eric?
Very good.
I'm doing
Doing
great.
great.
Doing great. Just another call with our lovely friends here, so it could be worse. I feel like I'm just hanging out with people that I've known for quite a while now. This has been quite a while, so all good. I feel like next time we're just gonna have to do this at like a bar or restaurant or something,
Oh yeah.
whatever, or Dave and Buster's too. I'm down with that as well. So I
Yeah.
figured, for those who may not know, why don't you guys give a short intro about yourselves individually, and then we can talk a little bit more about what is 30 Press.
Yeah. Wes, you should go first.
Cool. Hey, so everyone, my name is Wes. I'm the CEO of 30 Press. My background is in digital marketing and human behavior. A little bit of a swing towards like the cognitive psychology side of things, but I am also a avid reader. And when Jake, Ash, and Chris are the other members of our team, and they probably like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I think it's 2 years ago now.
2 years now. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Asked me to come on as the CEO of 30 Press, and I could not say no. And previously, I had helped found a digital asset research company with Chris called Paribus Group, and we ended up turning that into a different thing. But we had a whole bunch of like proprietary matrices for evaluating the validity of cryptocurrency projects and all that. We had a methodology we thought worked quite well, but we also had day jobs at the time, so it kind of distracted a lot. But now we're here with 30 Press, and we're hoping to bring some pretty new and innovative things into the publishing space, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But Jake, over to you.
Yeah. So my name is Jake Patton. I started 30 Press with Ash Holtzman originally, and at that time I was just a graduate student at Arizona State University, and so we were kind of like trucking along and trying to get our company started. And then Ash and I both got promoted in our various jobs. So now I'm a professor at ASU of, what do I teach? I teach a lot of crazy stuff. But speech and hearing classes, psycholinguistics, psychology, statistics, all that kind of stuff. And my degree is originally in cognitive science, so Wes and I have a lot to talk about. There we throw some ideas back and forth about cog-sci stuff. Yeah, pretty much Ash and I kind of let the company kind of lull for a while, and then we brought Wes and Chris on, and I think that's a good way to segue over to Chris.
All right.
All right. Hey, guys. This is Chris. I am the CFO of both Paribus Group and also the acting CFO of 30 Press. My background is actually heavily in cross-cultural studies and a lot of like social anthropology type of stuff. But I have a very strong personal passion for studying like markets, economics, and in general, just like disruptive tech, right? And so that's kind of how I got into crypto back in like 2017. And along that road, that's when I met Wes. And that's when we basically like started a Paribus Group as well. And from that, our like adventures basically brought us to meeting Jake and Ash. And when we heard about them basically wanting to revive their like 30 Press, which was like their publishing company at the time, we decided to team up. And and here we are. The rest, I would say, is history.
Amazing. I love the Avengers analogy there, and you can really see it with your guys' different background really come together. All the Infinity Stones and everything and whatnot. So I love that. And what's really, I think, unique too about this is that I feel like the publishing industry as a whole, and you guys know definitely a lot more about this than I, is wrought with just ready to be disrupted. There's so many different ways in which it can be improved upon. And I think Web3 is one of those areas in which it can make a huge impact. So what you guys are doing, I'm absolutely in love with. And I think that you guys have a great background and expertise in order to make it happen. And I know you guys are working on some fun stuff in the background, not just working with us over here at the Void, but let's talk about a little bit more deeply about the birth of the Voidager. I mean, that's how I think most of our community kind of got introduced to each other. And I think this is where I'll come in and I'll talk about how we kind of got introduced. We did talk about this a little bit on the Twitter Spaces, where you can find on our Twitter feed with us and 30 Press. But originally, when we announced we were launching the Void Marketplace, you know, we were very active in the community. We had ran this fun little game called Soon, who many of our OG community members will be aware of. That was a little bit of like a digital scavenger hunt of sorts. And it generated a lot of participation and engagement from the community, which was really fun. At the time, Wes, I believe it was you reached out to me in Telegram, and we were talking about working on a new innovation, I'll say, without spoiling it, in the publishing space. And we had come together, we brought in our CTO, we had a few discussions around creating a new service that could really improve one of the key aspects, key drawbacks of the publishing space. So we had gotten very acquainted. Next thing you know, we at the Void decided that we had thought about writing a story for the Voidagers. And I had written, I'm not an author, everyone. I had written maybe like 2 paragraphs. And while we were trying to build the Void, bring on the team, do everything else that's associated with launching a crypto project, which for those of you who have not done it, it is cumbersome. There are lots of things to do and take care of. And I just figured we're not ever going to be able to do this. We don't have the time, we don't have the resources, we don't have the team, we don't have the expertise. But I did think, I know a group of people that do. And that's when I believe we came together and I said, we had this idea, we want to write a story about it. We're not good at this. We don't have the time, we don't have the resources, but you guys, I feel like, are perfect for the job. And where you guys took this was just like 100 steps further than we could have ever thought of doing it. So maybe this is when we can start talking about a little bit of where your guys' thought process was around the Voidager challenge, which was, I would say, like a tier 10 game, a community game, as opposed to what we originally did with Soon. So why don't you guys talk about what that was like coming up with that? Because for those of you who may not know, all those puzzles and different missions and the screening tests and everything that was associated with the Voidager challenge was actually a creation from 30 Press. And I just can't say enough about how impressed we were, and the feedback that we got was amazing from the work that they did. So why don't you guys come in and tell us a little bit of what that was like through that creation process and how you guys came about doing that?
Yeah, I wish Ash was here because Ash is our chief creative officer, and you know, here's how kind of the 30 Press business process works, and it's not the actual business process, but a chat, and someone will drop an idea in there, and I'll be like, oh, that's a pretty good idea, and then we'll iterate on it together for like a couple hours, and then 9 times out of 10, the idea hasn't actually changed that much in 2 hours. It's the magic that happens the next morning when everyone slept on it and everyone comes back and is like, you know what? I was thinking about these 36 other derivative ideas that we could generate off of this. And so a common theme that you're going to find probably throughout this podcast and any other time you have us on is our ideas always start out pretty small and then they just rapidly expand to these really big undertakings. Sometimes they're awesome, sometimes they're not, but we always learn. And so the Voidager challenge was really different. And one of the things that we started out with was the idea initially was actually not to do something this big. The idea was to do something very simple, like we'll have maybe a poster, and the poster will kind of tease out this idea of the different community groups that Eric and the rest of the team wanted to do. And then we teased out, okay, well, maybe we'll do one little puzzle. Maybe like we'll hide a QR code in there and have a little announcement page. And then that's how it started. And myself and Ash had all done alternate reality games before. If you are tracking the game Cicada,
yeah,
you know, huge, yeah, huge fan. Incredibly difficult game. And we actually started out going, nah, we're not going to get anywhere near that. We shouldn't get anywhere near that. And we're definitely still not at that level. But it ended up just kind of expanding and evolving into something that was a little bit harder than I think anyone initially anticipated.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. And I think that, you know what, speaking of, you know, just innovative things, I think what this did was showcase a new way of community building in Web3 beyond just hype, because you guys know what it's like. I mean, you guys have been in crypto long enough. I mean, we all have. It's like these perpetual hype cycles of like marketing, when moon, when exchange listing, and like, you know, in some of the most successful, I mean, just to bring it back to NFTs, one of the most successful NFT projects, which was, you know, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, you know, they had a pretty, I would say, they did a good job at just like building a strong foundation of community support with things like Ape Follow Ape and stuff like that, that it created something that where people were bonded together. They had a deeper bond beyond just trying to make money on an asset. And I think that what this did and what you guys created with the Voidager Challenge did that, is that it creates a community bond where people have to work together to solve a problem, where that bond is way deeper than we're just all part of a community because we are interested or own the same digital assets and we want it to succeed. That's a bonus to it. That's a benefit to this. But I think that, especially someone who's been in the crypto communities for a while, is that seeing the difference between what our community is like and what some of the other, and I'm not hating, but like some of the other communities and the conversations they're having, which is always like, tell us more, tell us more, tell us more, tell us more. I feel like we seem to have a more stronger community vibe of a more connected community vibe as a result of this.
I absolutely agree.
I'd actually like to, if we could kick it over to Chris real quick. One of the biggest, and because his cultural anthropological background will come in handy for this. But, you know, things that unite communities go beyond, you know, just how we connect, the methods in which we connect, but really delve into that shared narrative, that shared story that a community is built on. Human beings, their cognition runs in narrative format, and you can look back at your life, and you arrange your life linearly like a story, and you actually cut out just a ton of super mundane details that were not a defining part of your narrative and your story, and you frame your own personal context in a narrative. Right. And so one thing that we wanted to do was give a deeper foundation for a digital community that is based around a shared narrative experience, and what we're hoping to provide in the Voidager Epic. But Chris, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's one of those things where, like, you know, for like the thousands of years that like human beings have been around, we have been able to build communities, and there's just like a natural, organic way that we're wired to do so, right? That's just how humanity has survived. And also, like, coming from an Asian background, this is something that's like very core to my identity. But the one thing that I think a lot of people are starting to realize now, but they didn't quite give it enough attention early enough, was the effects of the, you know, digital age and the information age on like the human psyche, right? And so we're coming up with a lot of studies now where people are starting to realize that despite how like hyper connected we are on a technological level, like that baseline human connection didn't port over, right? And that's why we're seeing that, like, on social media and a lot of these things, there's a lot more division than there is unity, even though we are, you know, technically speaking, more connected. And so one of the challenges that like we wanted to kind of work on as a part of this effort is, hey, how can we bring that shared human experience onto the digital world, right? How can we apply the same like human connect, like, you know, those natural bridges of human connectedness onto the digital space? And when and it was basically when I was listening to Wyatt talking about the L0 NFTs, and like towards the end of that Twitter space, it was when you, Eric, actually talked about the Voidager wanting to you know, start like something about like an epic, a storyline that basically becomes the baseline narrative for all this. It's like something clicked in my head, and I was like, I went straight to Wes and like, yo, I feel like we have an opportunity here. And so that is when our first small idea came out of that channel. And over the course of the next few days, like, you know, going back at it over and over again, it's kind of how it ballooned up to this. Hey, I think we have something real that we can work on here. Not only marrying our creative, like narrative, I'm sorry, our narrative creativeness, but also maybe trying to see if like we can create a story that will give this community like a shared experience that in general is going to, you know, that's going to build a stronger community, as opposed to like what we see in a lot of other things where, and in a lot of other crypto communities, like you said, Eric, where there's a lot of like, you know, take mentality, and not so much like, what can I do to help this community grow, right? That kind of thing. So that's kind of a lot of like, I guess I would say like anthropological, like, you know, subtext under a lot of these things that we worked on here.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Chris. I was going to say I love it, and I couldn't agree more. Go ahead, Jake.
There's, you know, to go off of that, Chris. There's a really old but really interesting psychology study where there's two groups of children. They're looking at how to like basically build community with these two groups of kids at camp, I think. And so they split them into like Blue Jays and Red Hawk teams, and just having them like play games against each other this whole time really builds tons of community within the two teams. The problem is there's also a lot of animosity between the groups. Mm-hmm. And so one cool thing that we're able to do here is we don't have to have a group for them to fight against, because it's us. We made the puzzles. Absolutely. And so they're all angry at the puzzles, and then they feel like a sense of joy when they overcome them. But they're all working together. So there's just Blue Jays or just Red Hawks. There's no, you know, outside force that they have to feel animosity against.
Right. And you know, it's great about that too. And as it relates to the Voidager Epic, I feel like a lot of the messaging too that people can go back and see in things like our Discord and Twitter, it was themes like humanity first, where it wasn't like one person, one group. And of course, like, you know, we have different archetypes that everyone fits in, but that's where people can keep their individual identity inside of the group, which I think is something very powerful. It was like the path of least resistance for everyone to come together and be part of a team where they're trying to identify they identify a common goal and go on this mission to solve these puzzles. And I just want to let everyone know, this is just the start of something that is going to become truly, and the plan is to be its own economy. We have so many things. I mean, we are looking multiple years down the line here, and there are pieces to this which we have not revealed yet that are super like, people just will not see it coming. But this is truly intended to be, you know, the Voidager universe, the Voidaverse, whatever you want to call it, is intended to be truly its own world. And I'll just, I guess, leave it at that for now. But I just want to say that to the people listening to this, that the Voidager challenge may be over, but we have yet to even embark on the real journey that is ahead of us. And there are so many exciting things that we have planned in the pipeline that we just haven't put out yet, which is why it's so important, and why I'm so just absolutely impressed by what you guys did with helping us lay that foundation of community as we begin to embark on this journey together as a company, as a community, as partners, as Voidagers. So it's just beyond I'm beyond excited, and I hate holding everything in because I want to tell everyone, because that's like my mission, I guess. but I have to, I can't ruin it, so I have to keep it all inside.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too, right? And I just wanted to add to that, like a lot of the things that will be coming up, especially with once the Voidager Epic stories start coming up, is like, and I know this is something we talked about during our planning phases, that this is kind of like an analogy of people getting into the crypto world, right? It's this like wild, wild west. It's a very scary place. People get rugged all the time, but at the same time, there's also the deep innate human desire to be the hero of their own like narrative, right?
Mhm.
So this is kind of like our way of turning it into this like methodical way of like, what if we do that at a community level, right?
Yeah.
What if we can all be those like heroes, like venturing out into this unknown, into this like these badlands, right? Into this super dangerous super dangerous place out there in outer space that nobody has ever explored before. And that's kind of just like that like epic narrative layer on top of like the real life situation of, you know what, I'm going to get into NFTs. I want to try, right? It may be a new space. It may be something that not a lot of people understand, but I'm going to take that first step out there. And I think that kind of captures like the spirit of the Voidager. And we wanted to just like encapsulate that within like this epic story, along with the community.
Beautifully said. Absolutely. So with that being said, why don't we give just a little summary, if we will, on what the Voidager Epic is? We've mentioned it a few times. People they likely know what the Voidager Challenge was. If not, you can go back into our Discord, and you guys will have a follow-up that's a part of this video that we're doing right now that will go over completely summarizing, walking through each of the missions of the Voidager Challenge. So even if you didn't get to do it, you'll get to see exactly what it was. But why don't we give a little bit of an intro or summary on what the Voidager Epic actually is and some things we can look forward to?
Yeah,
absolutely. So Jake, you wanna give the tagline, or?
Yeah. So let's see. Well, I don't remember if we have an exact tagline. So you should give the tagline, but I'll tie where we were in the story of the Voidager Challenge to the epic.
Yeah. So the tagline for the story is "The unknown awaits," and that's a pretty good summary of what is going to happen here. So it'll be a series of very short stories. We're calling them serials. So picture like almost like your weekly comic book release. Like if you were into comic books as a kid, you couldn't wait for the next issue to come out. That's kind of what we're trying to recapture here. So there will be some alternating schedules, but for the most part, we're going to try to release them pretty regularly. So you're getting basically the next issue in the Voidager Epic, and it'll tell the story of humanity's strange fate in the cosmos. And it'll be a story about people rediscovering humanity, rediscovering community in the face of danger and the unknown and difficult choices, and maybe even some cosmic horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
Where we were in the Voidager Challenge, I mean, like, I think it's no secret that there was a selection process and there was a test and people are being recruited for something. But you never really know what. There's hints, right? In the audio clips, in the historical documents that are in some of the PDFs that you got, there's hints of what there could be out in space and what the Voyagers are like going towards. But you don't exactly know. And so that's where we're gonna reveal what the mission actually is and why we needed these different types of people to be on it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited, and full disclosure to everyone, I haven't even read the stories yet. so these guys are keeping it lock and key. But there's not a doubt in my mind that it is going to be something that is exciting, that I can't wait to be with the community during this process of these different series coming out. And there's so much potential that can come from this, right? And I know I mentioned prior that it's world building, it's truly building our own universe. And the Voidager NFT, which I am dying. I was actually talking to my team the other day. I was like, let's just put one out. Let's just show them some things that they can expect. And Andy, one of our other founders, was essentially like, slow down. let's just wait we have some things that we gotta get figured out first. And I was like, all right, fine. But there's so much that can come off of this, even beyond that. And I know you guys have some interesting plans and thoughts around where this can go beyond just the series itself. Do you guys want to talk about that, or have any thoughts that you'd like to share? Or maybe you want to maybe secret for now?
So we will drop two things. First is, while we are going to be curating the lore and the storyline to make sure things are consistent and meet expectations, we're pretty much going to terminate the first part of this story in October. After that, we would really love to explore the idea of the community contributing to the story moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so after October, you will more than likely see some interesting events that will allow you the potential opportunity to contribute to the Voidager Epic yourself as a valued member of the community. And that will kind of segue into one of the other cool things about 30 Press, which is we have all these different publishing imprints that focus on different genre types. So if you think that you have a really dope piece of literature and you're having a hard time getting it published, or you don't know how to start, visit our website, 30press.com. We have a pretty good breakdown of the publishing process and what you can expect. But also, we're here to walk through that process with you. And it would be really, really epic to start doing a lot of genres inside of the Voidager universe within the context. So you're going to see some of those genres expressed in these Voidager serials coming up. So there's going to be a little bit of horror. There's definitely going to be some sci-fi, maybe even a little bit of high fantasy. Who knows? But the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I see some poetry. Who knows?
Yeah. That's the thing, is that it's the amazing thing about Web3 is that the community who are intrinsically part of this, and when they have one of these NFTs, they will be part of a valued community, and that they can contribute directly to success of their own community. This is what people refer to as the stakeholder economy, where people go from being a customer of something to a community of something, where you're now not just siloed in your own interests, but together collectively you can contribute to something greater than just your personal desire to maybe purchase something or be a part of a group. You're actually collectively able to collaborate and come together. And I think what you guys and what you just mentioned, Wes, is going to be so amazing to see how other members of the community contribute to create this thing, to create, literally, I'll say it again, a whole new world out of this. And I wanted to sing A Whole New World one time during this. And then there was another one where I wanted to sing Into the Unknown from Frozen. So I'll spare everyone and let everyone know that I didn't do that for all of us. But it's going to be really interesting to see how the community decides to contribute to that. And I'll just say on our end, maybe somehow, maybe we've thought of this already, maybe we haven't, thought of a way to reward people for their contributions into the Voidager world and economy. And maybe being part of this NFT community will have something to do with that. I don't know. Maybe you'll hear more of that soon. We'll have to wait and see. But that is kind of the, I guess, really soft alpha that I'll give right now from us.
Yeah.
That we do have a way for people to be rewarded for their efforts and participation in a multitude of different ways from the marketplace. So it's going to be really exciting.
And just so everyone knows, Eric did in fact sing. We just edited it out of the final cut.
Right. Yeah. We all joined in. I mean, it was like a karaoke type that, you know,
If you're gonna throw me under the bus, we're all rolling under it too.
Yeah,
we take community very serious here. We don't leave anyone behind. So it was something. Maybe we'll NFT it and we'll sell it in the void. Right?
All of us on a magic carpet.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, fellas, is there anything else? We're coming up around the 30-minute mark here. Is there anything else that you would like to share about what you guys are doing with 30 Press, the Voidager Epic, anything that people might be interested in looking forward to that we haven't mentioned already? The floor is yours.
Mm-hmm. Before you mention anything about where we're going next, Wes, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. Shout out.
You gotta keep going.
Thanks,
man.
Jake.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, on with the diarrhea. So, Wes, archetypes. You had a huge hand in. Well, it was your baby. Was setting up the archetype quiz, the archetypes. I think that was really fun. I'm proud to be a navigator. Chris did a lot of the sound design. I did a lot of the puzzles. Ash was Melly in the audio clips, but then Eric was Melly in the chat. So we had kind of a dual casting there. So a lot of things went on. Everybody played a part. And then also, Wes, you wanted to mention how influential Andy's designs were with a lot of our where we took the stories. I mean, he came up with some great poster ideas that then we worked into the stories because they were so fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy crushed it. Yeah, everyone really just put in a ton of work and made it a success. And to be honest, like the Void team has been probably one of the most communicative, easy to work with teams we've ever talked to, like period. They've been so awesome and easy to work with. It's a huge pleasure to help create new worlds with them. It's almost frictionless.
Yeah, it has been a joy, a pleasure, and I would absolutely agree that working with you guys has been very easy. Like I can't say enough about what you guys have done to help contribute to our community and be a part of our community and our partners in this. So it's really just the beginning. I know we're going to do a lot more cool stuff down the road, and that this thing is going to just get bigger and bigger. And I'll give my one of my little last things here before I let you guys go too, is that just an update on the Void itself, the marketplace, is that we're going through the process right now of bringing on a lot of people that are a lot of really amazing names that are planning and interested in selling inside the marketplace. I think people are going to be very pleasantly surprised with the names that we bring into the ecosystem from just many different industries, consumer, fashion, retail, luxury, music, just food and beverage. I mean, it's gonna be very exciting. We have a lot of really unique, amazing, and leading businesses that we're talking to that all just, if they could, they would sell the NFTs tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say that right now, and that's where I'll leave off. We're on the process of obviously developing the marketplace, all the different features and things, bringing on the team, expanding the team, and just making sure that when we put this thing out there, that it is something that everyone in the community and all our Voidagers can be proud of, and that is something that we always keep in the back of our mind.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we'll add in the how to solve the Voidager Challenge puzzles. We are leaving them up for another couple weeks. So if after this is released, you want to go back through, you want to play with some of the different methods you could have solved the puzzles, please go do so, and enjoy yourselves. But thanks to everyone for tuning in today. And my last little plug is that we don't just do fiction, we also do nonfiction. And our goal with our nonfiction is actually to bridge people's good ideas into the real world. So we have an imprint called Tomorrow Press, which where if you have a good idea that you think will change the world, we want to help you not only bring that to publishing, but we also want to help you with the organizational components of that too, and bring your idea to life as well.
Amazing. Well, alrighty, everyone. This has been an absolute pleasure. Can't say enough. I'm sure we will have another discussion probably soon.
Oh yeah.
And I'll just say to everyone, stay tuned for all the different things. Please follow 30 Press. I will put a link in the description of the video of all their socials, everything you can find out about them, website links, social links. Same thing with us at the Void and the Voidagers, where you can find all the information on that. That will be in the description in the video. And you can also please join our Discord if you want to get in the action. You want to be part of the community. Our Discord, which is in the link in our bio of our Twitter, which is Enter the Void NFT, at Enter the Void NFT, where you can join our Discord, get in the action, be part of the community, make friends, and we can participate in this wonderful journey together into the unknown.